Hey guys, Hakuna Matata here to bring you an analytical breakdown of the Luxury Championship Series 10 that concluded over the past weekend, which was a 3v3 event. I'll be going over some numbers related to top cut in the event, including the most played hand traps and staples. Now if you like these kind of videos, make sure to subscribe to the Luxury Gaming YouTube channel and also check out my own personal channel for data related Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Lastly, before I begin, a big shout out to our sponsors MetaMats, YGO Daily, and Imperial Gaming and Collectibles for their support for the LCS. I will have all of their links down below. Alright, so let's just get started. So most of you will have seen this pie chart already, but I think what stands out first of all was that we had a whopping 129 teams participating in this event, meaning a total of 387 players. Not surprisingly, Virtual World was the most popular deck, taking about a quarter of all spots, and then it was Drytron, so pretty expected that these two decks were the most represented at the event. I think some decks that may have surprised many people in terms of representation is Adamantipator and Dragon Link, decks that used to be tier 1 but fell off with the recent ban list hits. Once we got to Top Cut, which was 16 teams, so a total of 48 players, we still saw a lot of Virtual World and Drytron, but we also did end up seeing decks like Dragon Link and Adamantipator make it to Top Cut as well. We also had more rogue decks like Burning Abyss and Luralisk make it to Top Cut, so that was really cool. And if you wanted to see the deck list for all 48 players that made it to Top Cut, you can go to Luxury Gaming's website that you see at the top right here, and you can go view them. Now, since this was a 3v3 event, I thought I'd take a quick minute to just map out visually what decks all the teams in the top 16 were playing. So to highlight a few teams on here, of course, first place was Fala Galera 4.0, which featured Christian Thomas, Paulo Goncalves, and Gabriel Netz. Both Christian and Paulo played Eldritch Zodiac, while Gabriel played Dragon Link. The second place team was Gravekeeper's Kansas City Chiefs, featuring Trey Massengale playing Eldritch Dragoon, Brady Shields playing Dogmatica Eldritch Zodiac, and Paul Cooper with Adamantipator. Looking at the visuals here, we did have a couple of teams running a Soul Drytron lineup, and looks like teams that had a rogue deck like Burning Abyss or Luralisk, they had other two teammates running a top tier deck like Drytron or Virtual World. Now for teams in the top 16, we have the Irishman who all played the same Virtual World list. Team Duelist Alliance did feature Jesse Cotton and Bowden, who played a more stun Eldritch deck and featured some cool techs like Divine Wrath and in Jesse's list, Witch's Strike. We also had a couple of teams running Dogmatica Shaddoll that did not involve the Invoked engine, so that was pretty cool to see as well. So this is a screenshot of the challenge bracket for Top Cut, and it's a lot of text, and I'm just going to leave it here for people who want to pause and see how each team fared. Now in the final match, Fala Galera 4.0 did take it all with Dragon Link losing to Adamantipator, but the two Eldritch Zodiac decks, they beat the Chiefs Eldritch Dragoon and Dogmatica Eldritch Zodiac decks. So a big congrats to the member of Fala Galera 4.0, but also to the Chiefs and all of the top teams in Top Cut. Okay, so now let's provide a quick overview of the number of hand traps in the Top Cut deck list. So it looks like we are starting to see a lot of hand traps again, with a range of 0 to 15 hand traps in the main, with a median of 8 hand traps for decks in Top Cut. Keep in mind that for LCS 9, the median number was 6. And there were a lot of hand traps in the side as well, with a median of 9 hand traps. Decks like Zodiac variants played a ton of hand traps, ranging from 9 to 15, and Virtual World played about 6 to 12 hand traps as well. And then you had Eldritch variants that opted for a lot more traps instead, and ran anywhere between 0 to 8 hand traps. As for back row removal cards like Lightning Storm, Cosmic Cyclone, and the like, the number of these cards in the main was pretty low, ranging from 0 to 2 cards, and a median of 0 cards. In the side, it ranged from 0 to 6 cards, but with a median of just 3 back row removal cards in the side. So despite the larger number of control decks compared to the heavy combo format that we had with the previous ban list, looks like the emphasis is still on hand traps. And finally, if you're familiar with my content, then you will know that I always end with the top 10 most played hand traps and staples in the Top Cut deck list. So this time around, Droll was the most played hand trap, being seen in 43 of the 48 list. Of course, mainly to combat Drytron, and it's pretty crazy that 26 lists even main deck Droll for that matchup. Ash is something that we typically see on here, so that's not a surprise. What's a surprise for many would be that Alley of Justice Cycle Reader was the third most played hand trap among the Top Cut list, which banishes 2 light monsters from your opponent's graveyard, so it can be great against Drytron, but also to banish Eldritch the Golden Lord as well. I know it's gained a lot of popularity the last month or so, but interesting to see how widely it was played. And then we have Artifact Lancia, which of course is for that Virtual World matchup. But I mean, I've been double VFD'd before even when they were under Lancia, so it's not an instant win card against them by any means. We do see Nibiru on here at number 5 as well, and Despite a lot of people saying that Nibiru isn't as good as it was in the previous format, we still did see a healthy number of decks main decking it. Now Gamma is something we typically see more so at the number 1 or 2 spot, but now has fallen off a little bit, but still seeing a lot of play. Ghost Spell, Skullmeister, and DD Crow have all become popular lately with cards that are special summoning from the grave or involve the grave in some capacity. Dimension Shifter here was really cool to see as well and can really wreck some of the top decks as well. Now let's cover the most common staples. As usual, we see Harpy's Feather Duster at number 1, but we do see Red Reboot at number 2, which is I think the highest I've seen from doing these kind of videos. Call by the Grave is still played pretty often despite being limited, and we have another back row hate on this top list in Lightning Storm. Forbidden Droplet has gained a lot of popularity the last few weeks as well, and it's shot up in price, so not too surprising to see this on here as well. Then for even more back row hate, we do see Twin Twisters, and we also have Triple Tactics Talent on here, which didn't seem to see as much play as before. And Solemn Strike was a popular trap as well, but what was really cool was seeing a few lists play Mischief of the Gnomes. For those of you not familiar with this card, it's a normal trap that reduces the levels of all monsters in each player's hand by 1, so something presumably that was meant for that virtual world matchup. We then have Imperial Order here as well, and there were a couple of other staples that were in 8 lists as well, including Solemn Judgment and Cosmic Cyclone. Alright guys, so that's it for the analytical breakdown of the Luxury Championship Series 10. Hope you found that useful. If you did, again, if you could subscribe to this channel and also my own personal channel, Hakuna My Data, that would be greatly appreciated, and I'll have the link below. That's it for me guys. I will see you after LCS 11.